Welcome to Newark Made, where we bring you the voices of people shaping Newark's future. I'm Marcus Randolph, and today's guest is the phenomenal Rashena Burroughs, an inspiring entrepreneur and visionary behind a cluster of businesses, which we'll get into a little bit later, in Newark's West Ward. Rashena was preaching plant-based living before it became mainstream, and in 2017, she opened the city's first vegan restaurant, Blueberry Cafe, Juice Bar, and Vegan Grill. And though I'm not a vegan, I can tell you the food is exceptional. And she opened in a neighborhood that has few healthy food options. Since then, she's transformed an entire block she calls Electric Avenue, opening multiple businesses that promote wellness, community, and economic growth. She is a graduate of the Invest Newark Executive Business Accelerator and a leader who proves that one person can change a whole neighborhood. Rashena, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Marcus.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Happy to be getting this kicked off with you this morning.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear I'm the first.
So before we get started into the questions, we want to ask a fun icebreaker question. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
All right. So we all have a story. Our life is composed of different stories. We all have a story to tell. You have done a number of things. You're an artist at heart.
Yes.
If your life had chapter titles, what would you call this current chapter that you're in?
Oh, that's a good one. That's an easy one. I would call this chapter Transformation.
Okay.
Yeah, because in this particular moment now, I feel like I've been in a cocoon just, building and, adding a lot of things in for everybody else. But now I see my vision now. I can feel myself metamorphosing into who it is that I want to be. I do a lot for my community, but this is a transformation for me right now where I'm transforming to something that's for me, my heart's desire. So
clearly this is the chapter you're in right now. So if I ask you this question a year from now, we'll see what the transformation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right. Looking forward to it. So let's jump in.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about the businesses. Let's start with Central Avenue in particular. And you've really built something special there.
Thank you.
How did you first come across that location of West Ward? And then what made you double down on that block?
Well, I call it a divine timing. One Sunday morning on a Father's Day, I woke up to, hey, let me take some balloons to my ex, who I hadn't spoken to probably in over a year or so. I mean, literally like flat out not spoken to. And I woke up and I was like, I'm going to go say Happy Father's Day. And I'm going to get some balloons. And I got these balloons. And I called my son. I'm like, hey, where's your dad? And he was like, he's at the barbershop. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to drive to his house. And if you could just show me how to get to the barbershop. Lo and behold, the barbershop was 547 Central Avenue. I can't remember the name. On the way here, I was trying to remember the name, but I can't remember the name. And when I got to the barbershop, I went in, hey, Happy Father's Day. Here's the balloons. Kept it real short. Didn't want to make anything extra out of it. And when I walked out, I kind of backed up and I looked and I was like, this is nice. And I saw the boards in the window of all the stores except the barbershop. So I just walked up to the door and just opened the bar, hence where Zucchini Bar is now. And I just opened up the door and I'm like, wow. I just walked in all the way through to the back. In that moment, I was like, somebody built this just for me. So that was the Sunday. That was Father's Day Sunday. By that Thursday, I had the keys. Wow. Yeah. So I wasn't thinking of opening another location. I was doing hair at the time. I had a all natural hair care salon in Irvington. So by that Wednesday, I had the keys, and hence I moved the second location of my hair salon to Newark, the all natural hair. So I was there for a few years, and then the barbershop left. And so inside of my salon, I did all natural hair care. So within that, I would do smoothie day. I was always cooking vegan meals for my clients. I always taught that, if you want your hair to grow, it has to grow from the inside out. So I was always talking nutrition and, but I was trying to do these I'm doing hair on a moment I had a break. I'm sauteing up some vegan meal, or I'm making a smoothie, or I'm having my friends come in. Hey, can you just do these smoothies for me, on a Saturday afternoon? So once it became available, available, I just took it. And I asked my son, I was like, think I should do it? He was like, yes, because for years they were telling me, like, you should open up a restaurant, because I cook really good. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but I cook really well. So I just took it and I just stepped out and just did it. And then, so the next one came, Zucchini Bar came. Once I opened up Blueberry Cafe, we had these yummy, yummy, yummy zucchini muffins. Have you ever had one?
I have.
You did?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So the zucchini muffins were like out of this world. They were just causing havoc. I mean, we had to have, it's so small, the cafe, and then we would have these big giant containers full of zucchini muffins. So we were like, hey, we got to do something. And during that time, I was in another transitional moment where I was like, I don't want to do hair anymore. I did it almost 25 years. I was like getting into the food business, and, that required a lot of attention. So I was like, I'm going to retire. Right. So hence, I was like, I'm going to make a vegan dessert bar. And we're going to call it the Zucchini Bar because of the zucchini muffins. We needed more space for the zucchini muffins to go into. So that's how the Zucchini Bar came about. But before that, we didn't open anything without having the clean filtration systems in our, I was really big on water. Even when I had my hair salons, we had filtrations on the water system. So that way, we're putting the right acidic water on the hair while we're washing it. So then people would come and fill up gallons of clean water or filter alkaline water, when we were in Blueberry Cafe. Yeah. So people kept coming with these bottles, filling up the water. And it's a very tiny cafe. So now we're overwhelmed with people filling up water. So it was a Boost Mobile store next to Blueberry. Right. And then the Boost Mobile store left. And I'm like, we need to do something about this water. Hence why we have Aqua Phit water bar. Right. Yeah, and then I met the amazing Alan Watson. He was always frequently coming to the cafe. He's now my husband. So we met in Blueberry Cafe, and he brings the professional athletes into Newark, Austin Reeves and all them trained right inside of Aqua Phit water bar. So we decided to come together and say, hey, why not? It was extra space from the water bar. He brought his training there. So that's why it's Aqua Phit fitness, but we use the pH as the balance for the blood. Yeah. So that's how those came. They all develop a need for one another. Yeah. Yeah, we had to expand and stretch and all that. And then we had ice cream and Zucchini Bar, but then that got overwhelming. So then the people next door, that building was closed forever. So I was like, hey, let me just get one little space in here. So they gave me a space, and hence why we moved the ice cream parlor over to there. So then we was able to expand on the ice cream aspect. So that's how Electric Ave came about. Everything created its own demand.
That's an amazing story. I mean, just sort of how the organic growth of all that, and also the fact that you took a chance, you did it, right? Mm-hmm. But then you had a product that clearly people wanted, and then you saw opportunities. You just kept expanding. Yeah. So that's a fantastic story, and such a solid stretch of one of our commercial districts because of your work. Yeah, it's fantastic.
When I first came there, they called that area Baghdad. Mm-hmm. And I remember when the hair salon was there, a couple of times I got out my car and I'm like, pat, 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 and I had to run, into the salon. But believe it or not, just setting up those locations, that the people that were out there doing those things, they just melted away. They just will move down. The more beautiful we made it, the more it didn't fit their comfort zone. So they would just move down. I never had to call the police or anything like that. And then they came in one day and they was like, we really respect what you're doing. And I've never seen them since. Yeah, and I was like, I've been there since 2013. Right. Yeah, right. So it's been a while.
So clearly you're very busy, having launched all these businesses. You're super active in the community. And then the Invest Newark Executive Business Accelerator comes along, which is a pretty intense program. It's 7 months. We look for businesses that are established, that have employees, takes away time from the day-to-day management of the business and other things as well. With that, what made you sign up for a 7-month commitment?
For me, I love to learn. And I don't think just because I have all these businesses that I know everything. I know there's always room to grow. So when the opportunity presented itself and I had an idea about the class, I took a class before that with the same program, the human resource one. Right. So the next one, during that graduation, everybody was talking about this accelerator program. And I was like, wow, I want to do that too. Just from the previous students before, they made it sound so amazing. So taking that class was one of the best things that I could have ever done in my whole entire career. Literally. I was able to learn how to really take care of the health check of my business. Yeah. The metrics, stepping back, you're involved in your business, but stepping back, working on your business and not at your business is a big difference. So that 7 months trained me to work on my business behind the scenes a little bit more than being on the front line. I have an amazing team of people, partners, everything. So it's been running all this time. So why not step back and learn how to work on it? And the main thing that I took from the program is really working on my big vision. Even now to this day, I still use every strategy that I learned in that accelerator course to this day. I tell people all the time, no matter where you are in business, you could still take a class like that up. You're never too big for that program.
So you talked about about your team.
Yes.
Right? And having 5 businesses requires good people on your team. But we know in leadership, sometimes you can get good people on the bus, but they might be in the wrong seat.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, how do you go about finding the right people to be on your team, handling all this growth? And then there are any lessons that you can share with folks about your experience in leadership and picking the right folks to help you fulfill the vision?
Right. So once again, I call it divine timing.
All right.
So when I had the all natural hair care salon, just before I opened Blueberry Cafe, I would always do workshops, like wellness workshops inside of the hair salon. So one day I wanted to get Walter from Corona Health Food Store on South Orange Avenue to come speak. And I went there to ask him. He was like, oh, no, I'll go ask the guy in the back. And then I remember standing there, somebody was next to me. They was like, he's going to say no. So I was like, uh-oh. So I went back there and I approached him. His name is Janice Bernard. And I said, hey, I got this workshop going. But then we kind of veered off into a casual conversation about food. Lo and behold, we were on the same alkaline diet. We spoke the same language. We knew the same grains, everything. So he said, yeah, sure, I'll come speak. So I already had the mindset that I was going to open Blueberry Cafe, but I knew it would take me a little bit of time. I was using my own money at the time or whatever. And so he did the workshop, and the day that he did the workshop, after the workshop, I walked up to him. I said, hey, I'm going to open this cafe. Would you come aboard with me? And he said, yes. And I was like, wow. He said, yes. Now, at this time, I didn't know he cooked. He didn't know I cooked. We just said yes. And then, he gave a year notice at where he was working. And we put it together, and that's how I became partners with Janice Bernard.
Okay.
I said, if you come aboard with me, I'll partner you into this. You don't have to do anything but show up. And he did on January 1st of the next year. Yes.
Wow.
Yep. So, and then, and with the other establishments, it's really family owned. My son cooks. My oldest son runs the behind the scenes. He did within the hair salon. My daughter cooks. So we all come up with the recipes, make all the recipes. So it's really a family ran business. So I just think, just in that order, it just aligned itself that way to have these great partners. I have another chef that's been with me for the last 6 years, the one at Plants Poets Café. He's been there. He's also a part of the family. So just align myself with people who were just in alignment with the same thing, have the same passion, have the same goals. I think that's what makes it work. As long as I don't have someone that's there that's just like, oh, I'm striving to go be something else. This is what they love to do. This is what they know to do.
So that's great. You mentioned your son before, and I didn't know that, so many of your family members are involved in the business overall. Yes. So talk a little bit more about what that's like to work with family. Right, particularly your children, because you're still the mother.
No, this is true. Yes, and that doesn't change.
Yeah, but talk about that. Talk about a little bit, if you can, about like them catching hold of the vision, but what it means for your family, even long-term things that you have yet to realize, but could be beneficial. Yeah. Yeah.
So I've been in business for 30 years. So my children grew up in an entrepreneurial environment. They were running around and, first grade, second grade, 6 years old, running around the salon. So entrepreneurship is all they know, So, and then they all have a natural innate gift to be an entrepreneur. And I've always led them to utilize their gifts and talents to do what it is. Hence my oldest son, who works behind the scenes, who runs all the companies behind the scenes. He just has a natural leadership ability. So he's been working with me since he was 13, doing payroll, running the hair salons, all that stuff like that. And still to this day, now he does manage all these employees now. So it just developed into that. I don't really know how to put it in a lot of words. And then my oldest son, he was always the one in the house cooking, and, we would get him to make the farina, or, he just loved to cook. He loved to bake cakes. He loved to this, he loved that. So in high school, they took these little courses, and my daughter, she's just like a wizard chemist, so she would always take cooking in school, like as her electives. So it was just there. Yeah, family wise, it was just there. So it's really all they know. We bump heads because, I was a teenage mom, so I grew up with my children. My oldest son now is 37. So he's been working with me since he was 13. So we bump heads like brothers and sisters. It's like we grew up together. But at the end of the day, we always come together. Every day we talk. We have a Friday meeting, Zoom, where we go over and we discuss the health check of the business every Friday. Yeah, so that's great. That's how we make that work.
That's great. That's fantastic. So let's stay on family for a little bit. So your mom, you have 5 businesses, 6 grandchildren. Mm-hmm. Your husband is also an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. So tell us a little bit about balance, because I think everybody struggles with that, no matter what your situation is. Work can be demanding, family can be demanding. Sometimes both are demanding at the same time, and it all needs your attention. So any wisdom to impart on how you keep things balanced?
So it's basically we're always together. So the balance is there because we're always there, and like if I'm saying, hey, I'm going to cook Sunday dinner or something like that, then they come over to the house. But most of the time we spend a lot of our times at the businesses. Yeah, my oldest son is always like, we got to go do family vacations and stuff like that. So that's a part of the transformation that we talked about in the beginning, starting to do more things for self. I feel like I've done a lot for the community. So my family and I, we love what we do. So I think that's what brings the balance, is that we're always working together, always there.
That's great. That's great. Okay. Let's get back to some business related stuff. Okay. So we've been doing some research with some really interesting data points that have come out. And according to a recent study, the unmet demand for full service restaurants in the Partnership West Business Improvement District is almost $15 million. Limited service, it's even higher. But you've clearly tapped into that, right? You've shown that there's a market for that. What's your take on where the opportunity is now and how you're thinking about what's next for you and for the city?
Yeah, I believe the West Ward could use some more sit-down places, maybe a little nightlife, maybe a little something where you can have some live bands or something, and we don't have to always go all the way downtown or out the city to enjoy some live entertainment. And as far as me, what I would like to bring to the West Ward is some production. We're at the height of what we're doing right now, and we create a lot of products for people, but we don't have anywhere to put it now. So there's no more spaces. We've utilized all of the block space. Now we need like maybe some type of production factory, a small warehouse, a small something where we can actually start producing more food that people can have at home, where they can just grab and grow these healthy alkaline items that we make. So that's something I see for myself in the future, and I would love to have that in the West Ward. Bring some type of factory back, bring something that we could do some producing. That can actually go all around the world.
Right. Mm-hmm. That would hit so many critical points, as it relates to economic development, but obviously job growth and revenue in the city. But then so many people are purchasing either partially prepared or fully prepared meals, right? And something that's healthier for them certainly be a viable option, I would think.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thank you.
All right. Well, this has been fantastic. We want to end by asking you to pay it forward a little bit.
Yes.
Can you shout out a Newark business that you really, really love and tell us why you think everybody should check them out?
Oh, yes. My favorite, the Source of Knowledge bookstore on Broad Street.
Okay. Yes.
Those ladies are amazing. When I was new to Newark and just new around here, they're the ones who showed me the way, introduced me to everybody. I've met everybody that I know pretty much that matters from the Source of Knowledge bookstore. Sister Patrice, I call her, and Sister Masani. And they're always so community. I was just there Saturday. They had Aqua there, and it was just like, they're just amazing.
Yeah.
All of the books are amazing. I love that they have a huge variety of children's books. They bring all types of authors into the city, all types of amazing people into the city. So shout out to Source of Knowledge bookstore.
Rashena, thanks again for meeting with us and talking to us and telling us a little bit about your story, which is a fantastic one, from a single vegan cafe to an entire block of fantastic businesses. Yours is one that lets everybody know if you've got an idea and vision and passion and get some good people with you, you can transform a neighborhood. So we really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
To our listeners, if you've been thinking about creating something, do it. Take a page from Rashena's book. Do it with passion and act on it. Create what people need. Do it with heart. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this episode and come back for more conversations with people who are Newark Made.